I am so excited because we are going to plant up our entryway containers, and we're not going to spend over $100 to do such. And I'm going to share with you some tips and tricks that I've learned along the way that I've been doing for so many years, and how I'm able to plant so many containers and save so much money in the process. Now, we're going to be doing some cheap entryway containers, but when we get done, they're not going to look cheap. It's not going to be anything cheap about them. I'm going to take a quick trip, and we're going to pick up our statement piece, and I'm going to show you how I save money and how you can save money too, because the money that you save with your statement piece, that's going to help you buy the annuals that go up underneath. And then also I'm going to drop a couple of tips and tricks that I like to use along the way. So we have our plant sitting here. We'll head out, go get our statement piece, and come back so we can plant up. Let's get to it. I'm super excited. I am like pumped. I am pumped. Here is our proven winners. This is a North Pole arborvitae. And what is the price on it? Does it have a price on it? These are $26.98. And I just see one, but I think we can go a little bit cheaper and still get the same look, if you will. So we have our $9 option. So if you're dealing with a smaller container, by all means, the $9 option will absolutely 100% work. They'll be perfect for stuffing into a window box, and they actually look pretty good inside of a window box as well. But let's keep looking. These ones right here are $34.98. They look pretty good, but let's keep looking. Although, if we go back this way, you can see where the larger ones, how much are they coming in at? Actually, I do want to know. So our arbs are 60 bucks at this size right here. So that's not bad, actually. This is $34.98 for this size right here. They're pretty good, but since these arborvitaes are going to be catapulted up on a container, we want to make sure we're not going too oversized for the front entryway. So we'll keep looking. We don't want them too small, but we also don't want them too large to where it's now distasteful to be at the front entryway. For our filler, I want to start by looking at some arborvitaes here. Now this one right here, it is a smaller size, and it's coming in at $24.98. I feel like the shape is pretty good, but we would have to find another one that goes right beside it. But then I also want to put the next size beside our evergreen here to see in comparison how they match up. Now mind you, this is only going to be our centerpiece, and it's also going to be elevated, so it gives us the opportunity to go with a smaller size and save a little money on our containers here. This is the next size up. So we have an emerald green arborvitae. This one is coming in at $34.98, so we'll grab this one. And we'll do a side-by-side comparison of what they look like. So side by side, you really can see that there is not much of a difference. About this much higher on this emerald green than this emerald green. And I kind of feel like the smaller one actually looks better. We look at the base here. We don't have to worry about having as much room in our pot here for the one that's $34.99. Here's our tag. So we will go ahead, we'll put this one back, and then we'll start to focus on finding a twin, or at least a sister or a brother, for this arborvitae right here. And these things are dry. That's why it came out the plant can so easy. Okay, so now we're going to pull out a bunch of 25s and try to find the one that looks the best and has the closest structure and the closest size to the one that we already have picked out. Let's look at this one. We'll grab out 2 more. I like the wideness in this one. And see, part of the problem is a lot of these, if I grab this one out here, a lot of these they're not single branched, if you will. So we either got to go slim or we got to go wide. But I definitely like the way this one right here looks. These ones do look a little bit scant. And that one is on the lean, so I don't even want to have to deal with that. These are the 3 trees that I have it down to, and I'm thinking, based off looking at them, these 2 look like a better pair. But when we look at the foliage right here, it looks like it's dried out a little bit. Can you see it? It's have like the brown tips. 9 times out of 10, that's going to continue to brown down from the pot, the specimen being dried out. So this one over here may be our best bet, going with these 2 here. So we'll go ahead and we'll grab a cart. Go ahead and grab a cart really quick. So we decided we're going with these 2, so we'll get these loaded up on our cart and check out. And then we'll put this one back. Just how we found it. Let's go check out. This is our total. We're at $54.13 for our total amount here. So for 2 trees, we only spent $54.13, so we still have a little bit more money left in our budget.
Thank you for shopping at the Home Depot.
All right, so I think once we are able to lower the level down of our evergreen here, it's going to be perfect for this container. So we have our evergreen up here. Now let's go get the rest of the plants that we're going to be using. We have an assortment of goodies that we're going to be using here. Now our hanging baskets here, our hanging baskets is going to afford us so much bang for our buck. It's not even going to be funny. Now this is a beautiful begonia. Just look at that. Look at that color. I'm so obsessed with this. I love this color of begonia. They just give effortlessly, they give. So we have 2 hanging baskets. We're going to use 1 for each container. Then we also have a beautiful verbena, and our verbena that we have here is Supertunia Cobalt. I love this one. It's going to be full to part sun. And also I do want to touch on our begonias can take full to part sun. And here is our beautiful Superbena Cobalt. Now if we turn the tag over, you can see that these are going to be great, and you can plant these now and they'll last into frost. So it's a bonus, and it's going to help us out with our fall show as well. So even though we're not really even real deep into the summertime, it's good to start thinking about what are those items that we can use in our gardens now that's going to stretch us all the way over to fall. Now these are going to be an annual in my zone, but if you live in zones 8A through 11B, these are going to be perennial for you. The care is going to be easy. And so one of the things about your proven winners plants, a lot of the annuals as well as the perennials are going to be marked for easy care. Then we have a beautiful Scaevola. So this is going to give us 8 to 14. And I love it because it's giving us a lot of texture here. And I love the Scaevola because we're going to use this. The way that we're going to plant this up is going to act as though it is 3 different plants. And I'll show you how we're going to get that look here. The same with our Superbena. And then last but not least, we have our beautiful Superbena Latte. Look at that color. Now when you look at it, when you're looking at it from far away, it kind of gives kind of like those brown undertones, which we're pulling in our undertone of our foliage here. Because if you look at our foliage, you can see more of that brown color, but then you also can see that it has that beautiful green veining that I so love about this. And then just the texture of our leaf that's going to be in our begonia is going to be an absolute stunner. And I like that it's so heavy. Can't wait to show you how we're going to utilize these inside of our containers that we're going to be planting up. I also feel like had we went with our larger size, it would have been too overpowering for these containers here. And then also, because we're early into the summertime, evergreens are going to grow a lot, and it's going to just be a great look for us throughout the season here. And then it's going to, I mean, everything is just going to merge together just effortlessly. So we'll go ahead, we'll get these inside of the containers here. But one thing I want to point out, get on up in here, don't be a stranger, and make sure as you get in here, you subscribe to the channel. Now I'm getting ready to drop some jewels here as to why you might have weeds and different things inside of your planters. So get on in here and hit that subscription button, subscribe, hit the notification bell as you get on in here. Now look at this, look at this, look at this. A lot of time with your planters, you'll see that they will be grown in ground and then they pull them up. Make sure you pull out any type of weeds that you have growing on the surface here. So hold on one second. Here's the other one, and you can see we have some weeds. So you want to go ahead, pull these weeds out in the bottom, and that way you're not pulling weeds from your containers. Also make sure with your annuals, because you'll find that in your annuals you'll see a lot of weeds too. We are going to have to work a little bit in order to get the look here. Now we have our topiaries inside of our containers, and I absolutely love them. And I feel like they give just almost instant impact to the area here. Now our underplanting with our annuals here, but we have our begonias here. Now with your begonias, with these hanging baskets, you can find hanging baskets anywhere from, sometimes you can grab them on sale for $15.99, and then sometimes they might be 20 bucks, give or take. But the amount of money that you're going to pay for one hanging basket compared to if you went and bought these plants individually, sometimes you can save maybe 15 bucks. So it could give you the opportunity to then go in and plant up another container. Now, we are going to do a little bit of work here. And so with our begonias, we're just going to come in and start taking it apart here. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to go down and you're going to see where there is a obvious divide here in your plant. It's going to come in. You can use a regular kitchen knife and you want to cut down your plant. So we have one nice plant. We have two. Then we have three. Four. And five. So we got 5 plants for about 20 bucks. And I'm saying 20, give or take, because the price of the plants may be different in your area. So before I start planting up, what I like to do is I go in, I'll dismantle our other planter here, and I'll see how many plants we get out of this one. So let's do it together. One, two, three, four, five, six. So I got 6 here, 5 there. So with this planting, I am going to pop one of them out because I want my containers to be equal. Now, I can then take that extra cutting, I can pop it in another container, you can sell it. I mean, just however you want to do it. But I like to have my containers kind of looking even, as you will, meaning that if I go in and I use 3 plants in this container, then often I'll use 3 plants in the other container unless I'm short on one, and then I'll maybe come back and pop that plant inside of the container once I get my hands on one. Because let's face it, it is getting late in the season, and if you do not have your hands on your plants, you have got to go and get them, because you'll have container designs and your container design will not be able to happen, or you'll have to have a plan B and sometimes even a plan C the later that you get into the season here. So we are going to take out the smallest one. Actually, Oh, this is so gorgeous. I'm actually going to take out, yeah, I'm going to take this one out and it's going to be set to the side, and I'll use this in another planting somewhere in my garden that fits in with this color scheme here. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to plant everything up, and then I'll show you how we're going to take a scavola and we're going to use the scavola like it's 3 plants, but it's really only one. The same thing with our verbena here. So let's go ahead and start planting. Inside of my container, I did use the soil that I already had in here. That's how we're saving on our budget. We did go in. We use some starter fertilizer. We also use some slow release fertilizer, and this is why. Because we want our plants to continue to bloom throughout the season, we are going to be fertilizing them, but we want to make sure that in the event that we skip a week or something happens where we don't get out there and do our normal fertilizer routine, this is going to be our backup. It's going to be continuous feed for our plants here. And then also the starter fertilizer. Now here, we're manipulating the roots here. But then sometimes when you're not even manipulating the roots, you'll come back out, you'll plant up something, you'll plant up a container, and you'll see that your container is drooping down. So in that event, you want to use a starter fertilizer because it's going to help prevent plant shock. Now, even though you use starter fertilizer, you still may be able to see that you have some type of shock. Don't worry about it. The plant is going to rebound, but the starter fertilizer is said to help with the development of roots. And if you know anything about plants, you have great roots on the bottom. Underneath, plant on top has no other choice but to flourish. All done, so you can see how we have these planted up. So we have our weight here, and although they don't necessarily look like much now, they kind of look weirded out. So let me show you this, because I have this one over here trained, which you can see it looks like I have a scavola coming out on this side because we trained our scavola here, right? And so with your scavolas as well as your supertunias, you can come in, you can take this piece and you can start to train it back this way right here. And so what that's going to do for you, instead of you having to use 3 plants, so meaning you put a supertunia latte here, one right here, and one right here, you let the plant do the work. And so the reason why I'm doing it this way is because normally by the end of the season I have planters that are hanging all the way down to the bottom. I'm not necessarily going for that look. That's why I'm using one plant, so that way it's going to hang, but it's going to be more of a controlled hang. And so you'll be able to appreciate the container in all of its glory here. We will get a little bit of drape. It's going to come down. It's going to soften the edge. But for the most part, our scavola is going to do exactly what we need it to do. You can see it's already climbing up in the canopy of the tree. And then I took that one superbena. Here's our superbena flower here, and we're going to train that. So I have superbena that's coming stretched this way from this one plant. So when it's all said and done with, you're going to be able to see superbena on every single front here. Same thing with our container on this side. So let's go ahead and fix this in. So you pretty much just come in and you just have that coming over this way. So you see how it's coming over that way? Then we want to take our supertunia latte, and all you have to do is just take a little piece of it and move it back this way. That's all I'm doing is take a little piece and I'm just directing it. Our scavola is here. We have scavola here. But now we need some scavola on the other side here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that piece and we're just going to move it right here in our container. And that piece of scavola will continue to grow in. Same thing right here, although I do want more of the Super Tunia Latte pronounced here. I'm confident that by the time we get done fertilizing and we just let our plants just take over this container as they see fit, it's going to be an absolute show. I mean, it already looks gorgeous right now. It's definitely looking better than not having anything inside of the containers. Also want to touch on the fact, had we went with the $37 planter, it would have been way too large. Now, if we had some planters that were lower to the ground, it would have been perfect. For the size of vessels that we're using right here for our planters, this is absolutely perfect. And you can see this planter over here, the begonias, are definitely dominating this planter already, as well as the texture, and that's the look that I'm going for. I wanted something more clean at the front entryways versus me going in with a plant that kind of just goes all here and there. This is definitely the look that I was looking for, so I'm super excited about it, and I cannot wait until they just flow out. Containers came in right roughly under about 150, maybe 123. So some people say they can find Super Tunias for $5 a can. Some places I've seen Super Tunias as high as $12.99 per plant. And then let me drop this one on you. Petunias that glow in the dark, $30 for one plant. $30 for one plant. I've seen it that high, no lie. So I said that to say, so if we look at $15 for our Super Tunias and then our hanging baskets, we look at, that's another 15, so that's 30 bucks. And so basically we're right at where we want it to be. I can say, depending on your region, how high or cheap your plants are, this total look you can get from anywhere from 113 on the low end to about 140, 150 on the high end. Drop down in the comment box. I want to know, how much are your petunias and your Super Tunias and your verbenas per plant in your area? And if you have a big box store, you probably can get a better price on your big box store evergreens. Although if you're going to an independent garden center, you're going to get a better specimen, hands down, because nurserymen that work at your independent garden centers are going to be coming in. They're going to be making sure they fertilize. If it's any problems, they're going to be taking care of the problems. They're going to be coming in, and some of them may even be doing shaping on the specimens there. So drop down in the comment box. Let me know. I totally would love to hear what you think about these planters here. Now I got to clean all this up